The station that's your easy choice. 95.9 FM WEZC. And to read the latest local news on your electronic device, including tablets, iPhones, and smartphones, go to DeWittDailyNews.com. DeWitt County's #1 source for local news is on the air, online, 24 hours a day.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in this segment of the morning show is Ashlyn Burrus with DeWitt County Dove. Good morning, Ashlyn.
Good morning.
Happy holidays to you. Pull that mic close to you if you don't mind. I should have told you that before we got started so we can hear you this morning. And how you doing? How's Dove this time of the year?
Very, very busy near the holidays and just all the Christmas kind of things. Well, I'd just say from like August to December, we're always crazy busy with events. So it's been very busy, but I love being busy because I love what I do. And it's just it's a hard time of the year for people. Yeah. Like we think, well, a lot of times people think that during the holiday season it's a time of joy or a time of warmth, but for some of these people that I'm working with or some of these people that are going through things that aren't even getting help, this time of year is sometimes the most difficult year.
Yeah, well said. Well said for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. And you want those all those happy commercials and all the all the pictures that you see on social media. You want that to be everyone's situation, right? But the reality is it certainly isn't. And so with that said, Ashlyn, this time of the year, why is the holiday season tougher on victims of domestic violence? What goes into why this season is so tough for some people?
Well, I'd say why it's so difficult for people that are going through domestic violence during the holidays is because it can bring increased stress, isolation, and then that emotional strain. So, like with the increased stress, there's a lot of financial pressures, rough family dynamics, and then those holiday expectations too. Mm-hmm. And then for like the isolation, sometimes you're like some people that have an abuser, they sometimes can be pressured to attend certain family events with that abuser, mm-hmm. or maybe they may be cut off from their support networks or not even be allowed to be around family and close friends because that abuser is isolating them.
Yeah. I was out with some friends yesterday, and one of them was telling me how one of their kids actually went through an abusive situation and had a traumatic life experience that they didn't even know about because the abuser just kept everything from the friends, the family of this person, and it's just it's so sad to hear those things this time of the year. When it comes to when a victim is out in, whether it's in public, whether it's at a gathering with family and friends with an abuser, I would venture a guess that's got to be really tough on them because they probably want to talk about what's going on and they just are so compelled, maybe even fearful to say anything. What's that like for them?
Yeah, I think a lot of people that are being abused and have to be a certain way or have to keep quiet because if they say something might happen. Mm-hmm. And so it's very hard for these individuals that are going through that are in these situations because they're walking on eggshells. Mm-hmm. They have very bad anxiety, mm-hmm. and they just can't be themselves ever. And then they just don't know what's next.
Mm-hmm. And I venture a guess, you talked about they can't ever be themselves. That's probably a noticeable change to friends and family close to that person.
It should be. And, like, you would think that would, people would see that. But sometimes, like, I'll be completely honest with you, sometimes it can be hard for some family to see if they don't see that person very often. Mm-hmm. But people that may be, like, coworkers or their neighbors or just people that may see that person quite often, most likely they might see something different. But someone that may not see that person very often, they may not see that they're not being themselves or something's up.
May not notice it at all, for
Right.
sure. Yeah, absolutely. So what is, why is this time of the year tough on victims? You know, what happens with their abusers? What are the abusers going through that maybe, and I talked with your colleague Andrea Coker at Willow Tree a few weeks ago. One of the things she mentioned was that cycle of abuse we hear about so often escalates itself and moves faster. Why does that happen?
Well, I think during like this holiday season, I think sometimes abusers want more of that power and control because they want to make sure, or they want to have that power and control of whoever they're abusing to not be able to experience a season that the way that is.
It's meant to be. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then another thing.
They want to deny them that happiness, that warmth,
Yep.
all of that. Yeah, sure.
Another thing too is like anything that could cause maybe any stress for an abuser is really like compared to like someone that's not that way all the time, like it's going to really increase how things could get, as in like if they get violent or how they treat in any way emotionally, mentally to their person they are controlling.
If there's kids in these relationships, how does it impact the children in these situations?
Well, these children, like a lot of these children too, even though they may not be the main person that's being abused, if they are seeing their mother or father or whoever, the abuser that's doing this to maybe their parent, it's like if they're seeing this, it's honestly they're experiencing this abuse themselves too, because like it's creating so much emotional distress to these children, and all this trauma to where like they're just so scared all the time, but then it's just like they shut down, like they feel like maybe sometimes they can't even say anything at all and just need to keep quiet all the time too.
Ashlyn Burrus, DeWitt County Dove, our guest in studio for today. You know, you talked about the escalation of the cycle of abuse. One thing you were telling me, and if you don't mind, we talk about maybe some local things you're noticing. You were telling me that you're seeing a lot of relationships turn abusive recently, and even the victim saying, I didn't ever think, like I knew maybe I was in this situation, but I didn't ever think it would become physically abusive. How about that? What are you seeing, Ashlyn?
Well, it's kind of like correlates with like the cycle of, well, at first when people get into relationships, it can be so like that honeymoon stage, or just like they are taking them out on nice dates, giving them gifts, being so nice, just being so loving. And then like one thing might like frustrate them, and then it could be another thing. Or maybe when someone got in a relationship with someone, they didn't realize this person has an alcohol or substance abuse addiction, and then there's things that this person they got in a relationship with that's an abuser is they're finally noticing over the smallest things. They are now, it's not just a little bit of a little argument, it then just kept escalating to just a little emotional abuse and some verbal things, and then it eventually got to that physical abuse, because it, with the cycle, it just keeps going, like it just escalates until eventually the person explodes.
Anything else in terms of victims locally, what they're going through that you're noticing, whether it's out of the norm for this time of the year, or just something that is a tendency this time of year that you notice in folks that you're counseling and giving help to?
Well, I'd say one thing I've noticed that's a little bit different this year than maybe even last year. I was dealing with more like families and kids, but now it's more of like people that are experiencing financial abuse or people that have sometimes been going through this emotional verbal abuse for years, and then now they're finally realizing, oh, this isn't normal.
Yeah, and one thing that you mentioned was that a lot of people you're helping right now may not necessarily have roots established in Clinton or DeWitt County. Speak to that a little bit.
Right. A lot of people that I've worked with have sometimes moved here because their abuser's family was here and they were told like that, like, we're going to live here. And so a lot of the people I've been working with don't have family around here, don't have close friends. And there's some people that like just don't have a support network at all, to where if they might have had a support network, they might have heard about ways to get help where someone would maybe be there for them that they could just have a listening ear for.
Yeah, well, and how difficult is that for someone in an abusive relationship and they don't have a close relationship, they don't have family here? How does that challenge their ability to navigate that relationship, navigate finding help? How about some of those things? What does that look like?
It's just very difficult and very hard, because if someone maybe has family or close friends or any sort of support network near them, they might, if something happens, they might have somewhere to go. Or maybe they might have some sort of assistance or someone they could just call real quick, other than like 911, like, or someone they literally could get resources from other than just calling a hotline.
Yeah. And one thing I've come to learn over the years is that while, so when we put out, comments from you or Andrea Coker down or over in Piatt County or others in this world of domestic violence, we put out that information, those resources, and how they can find those. While that's great, I think we should.
Yes.
It's, one thing that I've come to learn is an abuser may be monitoring the phone calls,
Yes.
the messages, the even the browsing history, the web history of a search history of a victim, and so they may know those resources. That doesn't necessarily mean they can always get a hold of people like you.
Right. A lot of abusers are actually pretty smart. So and a lot of people I work with, their abusers have tracking things on their phone. They have all their person that they're abusing's password. So it's very hard for some people to get help through calls or messaging without using someone else's phone sometimes. Some of these people just can't do much on their phone without their abuser finding out that they're trying to get help.
Yeah, absolutely. That's got to be challenging. Very good. I almost called you Andrea. Sorry. Ashlyn, in terms of just things going on locally in the world of domestic violence that you're noticing people coming to you with, anything we haven't touched on you want to put out there, or anything about the holidays we haven't gotten to, anything like that?
Well, I know I talked about having a listening ear. I know there's other ways. If you might think someone is in a domestic violence or someone that needs to get help, that for sure they're in domestic violence, and you could be a way to help or support them. You could reach out to them in private. You could maybe just express your concern to them and, well, like I said, provide those resources to them in a way that their abuser isn't going to find out that they're trying to get help.
How do you do that?
Well, say their abuser's at work and they're at home, or maybe they're at, they're working, the person's working and their abuser isn't around, going to them, in a private matter to where their abuser, isn't going to know, and giving them help and resources in a way that the abuser can't even find out.
Yeah. The challenge with that, I venture a guess, for a lot of people is, maybe they suspect something's going on, but they're, they want to confront the person and ask them about it. But if, then they worry about, well, if nothing is going on, then they may resent me for asking if something is going on or questioning the status of their, the health of their relationship, if you will. How about that from the person's side?
And I get what you're saying, so I think this is hard, but I encourage people, if maybe there isn't a domestic violence situation, but you think maybe something is wrong, and maybe you could be that person to literally just ask, how are things going? How have you been feeling? Or maybe it's I'm here if you ever need anything, or is there anything you ever need help with? Just sometimes it's if we don't sometimes say something or do something, we could be the only person that someone could ever have to ever get help or get out of a terrible situation.
Sure. Well, Ashlyn, I look at the clock. We're well past time for a break. How do folks learn more about Dove, your services? How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so my office number in Clinton at the DeWitt County office is 217-935-6619. We also, our website is doveinc.org. And then we also have a Facebook page, Dove Incorporated on Facebook.
Very good. Again, that is Ashlyn Burrus with Dove of DeWitt County, our guest in studio. More to come with Ashlyn on the morning show.
WHOW.
This Miller Media Group radio station and our online daily newspaper, DeWittDailyNews.com, have got winter weather covered. With our exclusive event delay software, closings and cancellations are posted instantly when received, 24/7, and also air every 10 minutes during applicable times. And find out the latest road conditions at the road conditions icon on DeWittDailyNews.com. Whether online or on air, we've got you covered.
Hi, Ryan.
We're here for the wedding.
The wedding was a month ago. You were supposed to be my best man.
Told you he'd be upset.
Sorry. See, we were headed to the church when we heard a radio spot for a furniture store.
We really needed new end tables.
And while we were paying for those end tables...
Tell him what happened.
Here's what happened. Jen heard a radio commercial for a 3-day spa package at a big fancy hotel.
Oh, Ryan, it was so beautiful.
It's so beautiful. Anyway, we're lounging by the pool.
Tell him what happened.
Here's what happened. I'm listening to a podcast on my phone.
When he hears an ad about a direct flight
to a resort in the Galapagos Islands.
What?
Again, Ryan? So beautiful.
So beautiful. Anyway, we're just getting ready to fly home, and what do we hear?
Let me guess. A radio commercial.
For a car dealership.
Tell him what we did.
Here's what we did. We bought a car and decided to drive home.
You can't drive home from the Galapagos Islands.
Oh, did we feel foolish when we found that out?
I really thought it would float.
Radio goes where we go. A message from the Illinois Broadcasters Association and this station. They brought you this message.
At Love It Once More Thrift Store in Clinton, we're helping to make things easier this holiday season. We have all our Christmas decor 50% off. And also check out our display of gift quality items. This is Connie reminding you to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and DeWittDailyNews.com.
Happy holidays from me, Russ Utterback.
And from me, Ryan Utterback.
And from the other Ryan, Ryan Dalton.
We at Utterback Real Estate thank you for your business.
To buy or sell real estate in DeWitt County, click their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Ashlyn Burrus, DeWitt County Dove, in studio with us today. You know, Ashlyn, we talk about the holidays and domestic violence and abuse and those sorts of things. What can a victim do for safety purposes this time of the year?
So there's a few steps that people that may be going through domestic violence to help ensure their safety during this holiday season. Well, one could be to create a safety plan. So pack the emergency bag with essentials like money, important documents, medications. Identify safe areas such as different places in your neighborhood to go or ways to escape your abuser in your home. Reach out to support networks and then try to limit that interaction with your abuser. Set those boundaries. Avoid isolating yourself, and then also stay calm and always try to be prepared if you can.
Sure. Very good. So good advice as always. And again, your resources, how do folks get a hold of you this time of the year, if they can?
So if you're in a crisis situation, the DeWitt County 24-hour hotline is 217-935-6072. My office number, if you ever have any questions, if you're not like going through crisis but you need questions or just want to set up an appointment with me, that office number here in Clinton is 217-935-6619. And then the DeWitt County office is at 803 West Leander Street, right behind the bomb dealership here in Clinton.
Very good. All right. Well, Ashlyn, let's dive into, maybe folks out there, they want to help and be a part of Dove and what you're doing. How can they do that? What are ways they can step up and volunteer or help?
Yeah, so I know not everyone can volunteer, but there are ways you can still help. So this is different from domestic violence, but the DeWitt County office has a food pantry on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 to 2 for anyone that needs help with food or hygiene items, diapers, wipes, cleaning items too, and they just have to live in DeWitt County. Well, we have been so busy this month and have been slammed. Some of the things that people could donate are canned goods, diapers, sizes 4 through 7, laundry detergent, toilet paper, and baby wipes. And so if you can't volunteer, that is a great way to even donate towards Dove and DeWitt County.
And again, where do they do that at?
You can drop off anything at the Dove office at 803 West Leander Street in Clinton.
All right, very good. Well, Ashlyn, again, where do folks go to learn about all things DeWitt County Dove?
Yes, you can go to our website at doveinc.org. You can always call my office number at 217-935-6619, and I can answer any questions you have, or our Dove Incorporated Facebook page right on Facebook.
Very good. Ashlyn, thanks for coming in. Happy holidays to you and yours. Ashlyn Burrus, DeWitt County Dove, our guest. Network News on the way.